The Desert Tiger Podcast.
How have you been, Jesse?
I'm good. I've been lately. I've been really busy, but it's been good. It's been really exciting. Just kind of like working on a bunch of stuff at once. Thanks for having me on today, by the way.
No worries, no worries. I'm glad that we could reconnect to continue to piece together this puzzle, this story. Awesome. All right. So today we're here to talk about that upcoming EP, Hellion.
Yes.
All right.
So soon.
So soon. Must be very exciting.
It's very exciting. Yeah. This is kind of a long time coming. I was originally going to put out this project in September of 2020 and kind of just held off and kind of got all the pieces together, got all the team together, and I'm been really happy with this idea.
Awesome. Well, I mean, of course, the last time we spoke, we got to cover one part of this 6-piece EP with Undone. So I'm excited to jump into some of these other pieces as well here.
Yes, totally.
All right. So, of course, one thing I guess we should continue off of that Undone story. When we last spoke, you spoke about how with Undone, you were really beginning to accept yourself and your sexuality. And from what I can hear from Hellion, it definitely still continues to travel that relationship, that sort of that love side of the world. So is that the progression here, is just continuing to push into who you really are?
100%. A lot of times with, at least with me and the way I create, it's a process. And these things evolve. And so, I wrote Hellion about a year ago, and the reason that we decided to title it Hellion, because it came from that place of self-discovery, of something that's a little younger, as something that's a little mischievous. And so that was kind of the theme that we realized of the album. And it's interesting too, because the stuff that I've been creating today is very different than Hellion, and it feels like that whole evolution. So it kind of felt fitting. And I think that's the way that I've been going about it, because I've been just trying to figure out everything from day one. And with my writing, with my production, with the whole vibe, I'm just trying to like hone it in. So I'm so happy with how Hellion turned out. I think it really showcases that point in time in my mind.
Okay, awesome. So you had mentioned that also with Undone that you had recorded it inside of a bedroom studio. Is that the case with the rest of Hellion?
I am actually in here right now. This is the little studio setup. It's where I record everything. Everything that I put out is recorded right here. And I like doing it this way. I've been into studios, and it's a vibe and it's fun, but there's something that I realized about recording by myself. Like, it doesn't really take a lot. Like, I record with this mic, and I record with these acoustic curtains, and I have like beside me a little enclosed space for the vocals. And it kind of shows in the recording. I feel more intimate when I record. I feel more isolated, more by myself. And I think that allows me to act and feel a certain way that I don't really get anywhere else.
All right. Awesome. It sort of allows you to maybe get comfortable while capturing those pieces of yourself since you're inside of your own space.
Right. Totally. And I can do it at any time of the day. I never have to pay for it. Like, I can come here whenever I want. I can take as long as I want. And it's really like, it's no shade to studio recordings, because, there is something to be said about that. But just for me and the way I like doing things, this is how I like to enjoy my process. And I can just take my time and be in my own world.
It sort of gives you the time to play with each and every sound and make sure that you're accentuating the vibe that you're trying to capture and everything else.
Totally. Yeah. And that's how I'll do it. Like, I'll just sit here. I'll sit like a little bit to my right, and I'll always record sitting. I just have the mic with me, and I just kind of like close my eyes and sing.
Nice, nice. All right. So I would definitely want to dive into some of these vibes, some of these songs as well. And of course, the second single for Hellion was released in March with I'll Make You. So give us a little bit of a dive into I'll Make You and what part of this energy that it's trying to capture with Hellion.
I think it fits interestingly really well into the idea of Hellion because again, I think it comes for that a little bit younger of a mindset. I'll Make You is really um, a winning over of someone. I think we live in a world that, and I fall victim to it as well. That there's hype, there's brands, and it's kind of a symbol of power or status, whatever it might be. And I think we get lost in that quite easily because we know it and it's familiar and we recognize it, rather than seeing it for what it is or for something at face value. So this song to me was written from the perspective of someone trying to win someone over and saying that, you don't need these fancy things. You don't need all this stuff, all this hype, rather something deeper that you could feel. And that's kind of where that song came from.
You can, money can buy you so many different things, but it can't give you physical touch or it can't give you the emotion that actually comes with connecting with a being.
Exactly. And that's hugely important. I think especially at a time like now, we've lost that human connection that we are so accustomed to. But yeah, it was really coming from that point of view and just like that commentary about how these things are nice, but they're kind of useless.
Okay, all right. I really like that energy because it's true. What do we get to take with us when we go? What do people remember about us? Is it the things that we bought, or was it the time we were able to spend? Was it the memories we were able to create, the magic, right?
Exactly. And those are so much more powerful and they will last.
I love it. I love it. And I definitely agree with that energy too. So with that single, it was definitely a shift. And once again, once we get into Hellion, we see a few more different energies with these tracks. So I want to speak about Evergreen now because it definitely seems like maybe at this point with Evergreen, maybe you've won over that individual. So what are you trying to capture with Evergreen?
100%. I will say the way that I do create is all over the place in terms of genre. I think that really shows in this EP for sure. There's different styles, there's different sounds and moods and stuff, but we kind of get to this finish line at Evergreen, which I love Evergreen. To me, when I listen to it, it makes me feel warm, makes me feel relaxed and peaceful. And this song is just a true love song. You know what I mean? Like it's basically just like opening your heart up to that person who makes you feel complete and makes you want to be a better version of yourself. And that to me, I wanted to end the EP with that because that felt to me like a resolve. And we were going through these motions of up and down, and we kind of get to this place of growth and acceptance, and acceptance of your flaws. Like there's a line in there that says, before I met you, I was not a sane man. Right. So like I'm recognizing that I'm a human being and I'm flawed, but this person makes me want to grow up and makes me want to, be a human.
It's in the relationships that we look for, especially when it comes to that love style. It's definitely we want someone who can help us grow and help us realize the better person that we can become, right?
Absolutely. And it's in relationships, it's in friends and family. It's anyone really who, sometimes we need that outside opinion, that outside view to realize that like we're capable of doing it ourselves and we can love ourselves. So yeah, I love Evergreen. I'm so excited for people to also love.
It's definitely one of my favorite tracks off of this upcoming EP. I mean, I love the entire thing front to back. From the start with Smoke to Mirrors and that chorus with the ba 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 ba, and then all the way to Evergreen. It's just like this album is just a beautiful encapsulation of like we said, that love energy, and not only just growing to love oneself, but also learning to love somebody else while still sort of respecting that love of yourself that you learned along the way.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that, because that's really the theme for me. The more I thought about the EP, I was like, this is what I'm trying to say, because we don't always know what we're saying in the moment. We just kind of like put it out, and sometimes it takes a lot of thought, and sometimes it's just more a stream of consciousness. But when after reflecting, that's kind of what I got for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. I love that. Well, last time that we spoke, I know that you had mentioned that you had hoped to do a music video for Undone, but because of the pandemic, that made things a little bit more difficult. So, did you have the chance to maybe shoot another video for one of these upcoming songs? Is there plans to shoot one maybe once things reopen up? I know things have shut down a little bit over on the East Coast there.
Yeah, it really has. We're in another lockdown, and I just had my birthday on Saturday, actually. So it was the second birthday lockdown. So we're really going a little bit backwards, but no, you know what? There was plans to do it, and just like everything else, it's kind of just fallen through. But me and my band were able to record each song of the EP in a live set. So so they're going to be up on YouTube following the release of the EP, and it's just each song of us playing live. There's 6 of us. We got the whole band vibes there, and it really sounds amazing. I mean, they're all incredible. So in terms of visuals, that's what people have to look forward to, and I'm really excited about that because, again, like playing live is something that we've lost. But this kind of allows people, hopefully, to experience that live setting in the comfort of their own homes and on YouTube.
Very true. And it also captures a little bit of a better sound, whereas sometimes when you get that phone from the crowd from a live shot, it maybe doesn't exactly, it catches all the echo too and everything else.
100%. No, we recorded this properly. We mix and mastered it. It sounds really great. I'm really excited for that.
Awesome. Is that the same band members that you did the same live sort of performance thing from some of your songs from your first album?
Yeah.
Okay.
Same people. We will all ride together for sure.
All right. All right. I remember that everybody was grooving it pretty hard last time, so I can only imagine the repertoire that has been built between all the performers now.
Oh yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, the more and that's the thing too, because we've been limited in how much we can practice, but the more we do, the better we sound. And I'm just really excited for me and for people, but especially for them when we can play live again, because I know they've been itching to do it and they've been working really hard to, and they deserve to be a part of that. And I think, that's why I wanted to do the live sets, is because they weren't able to experience that. And we were all gearing up to do shows, and then COVID hit, and then we didn't. So I wanted to give them something to look forward to, and have them excited about something again.
Absolutely. And that wasn't the only sort of live-ish performances that you did as well, because you've also done a few videos with the Chesterfield sessions. So what was it like to sort of team up with them and shoot videos outside or in a barn or all of those different exciting settings?
Yeah. I love the Chesterfield sessions. They did such a good job on that. I knew them because we were friends. We are friends. And they started this thing called Chesterfield sessions, and they wanted me to be a part of it. And so I went up to 45 minutes north of Toronto. This was a while too when we shot this. This was almost a year ago. And we shot 2 songs. We shot Average and we shot Room in Hell. Room in Hell we shot in a barn. Average we shot in the field. And they just looked amazing. They really killed it.
Definitely gives a different perspective, a different energy to the tracks as well, sort of seeing one inside of that open area and the other one sort of inside of that rustic more scene.
Totally. Yeah. I mean, there was in the visuals for sure, it gives it a different vibe. And also I would say the way that I come about writing a lot of times is I'll start with the piano and vocals. And then because that's what I'm trained in piano. So then we make it into a production, and then we bring the band into it and we do a live thing from it. But it's cool for me to see it and hear it in that different capacity when it's just piano and vocals again, because that's kind of the base where it all started.
Awesome, awesome. And of course, with vaccines rolling out and everything else, tours are already being announced for the fall, for October and otherwise, which means we might have that opportunity for you and that live band to make it into a setting. Are you excited to finally be able to bring not only that first album, but also this new EP to the fans?
100%. It's really been a long time. And I'm really hoping that it does come in the fall, because me, along with everyone who's a musician or artist, has just been itching to play. So I'm really excited about that for sure. It's going to be like one of the first things I do when it opens up.
Fantastic. Well, hopefully I can make my way to one of those live settings so I can be the loud guy in the room with the soft music.
Yes, please. That, or I'll come to you, either way.
Ooh, either way, I like the sound of it. And I'm sure everybody else in the crowd will too.
Amazing.
Awesome. So, of course, you mentioned that you're already still working on things too. So, without giving too much away, what is sort of the energy that we're shifting into here in the future, into this next upcoming chapter of Jesse Maxwell?
You mean after Hellion or for Hellion?
After Hellion.
After Hellion. Oh, what can I say? I think it's different. It's very different. And it's the way that I've put out albums and EPs, which I love and kind of like stamps the style, is like, there's a sound, but it's all over the place in terms of genre, in terms of mood, in terms of feeling, in terms of like sound palette. So the new record that we're working on, actually, and we're almost finished it at this point, is, I love it. It's so like spacey, and it's dark, and it hits really hard, and it's a little more alternative, and I really like that style for us because it feels a little more free. You know, there's something to be said about a traditional song structure, and I think that's the, you know, with pushing those boundaries as much as I can, it's been the way that I've gone about things. And I kind of dropped that idea in this new album because I just wanted to be a little more free with it. And I got some really cool results for sure. And the same with the EP. I worked on the album with my co-producer, Andreas, and, you know, just like two of us creating, and we're doing our thing, and we're in the bag, and it just feels really good. So, yeah, so that's to look forward to for sure.
Awesome. Awesome. So you mentioned earlier that you happen to have a hand in most of the piano work and laying down a lot of things. So what does Andreas add to your recording process?
A bunch of things. We don't have like a set, like, I'll do this and you'll do this. There's some things like, I'll make you. He brought the instrumental to me. And then it was, I mean, it was not, we had finished it together, but he started it by himself, and the chords were different. And when I heard it, I was thinking, oh, that would be really good with a song that I have called I'll Make You, that I had written a long time ago. And then there's other ones like Smoke and Mirrors. He pretty much brought me the whole thing as well, the whole instrumental. And I just like wrote to it. And then we did the ending together. And then, you know, there's songs like Evergreen, which I had like 80% done, and he heard it and was like, you know, he wanted to make a bass line on it. He did some guitar work. There's like a little like walking guitar, a nice moving bass line. So it's things like that. So we're really just free with it, but he, you know, he's as in this as I am, which is amazing.
Okay. Awesome. Awesome. And you actually just happened to reveal that I'll Make You was something that you had written before, that once it finds the right beat, it gets remade. And I love how, as songwriters, we can craft something, and at the time it's like, I have no idea what to do with this. I know that it should be something, and then like it could be months later, it could be years later, that it's suddenly just like, oh my God, this is perfect. It's finally got a home.
Yeah, no, things take multiple forms. Like, I'll Make You, the ones on the EP that I wrote forever ago were I'll Make You and Evergreen. Evergreen I wrote when I was still living in New York, and same with I'll Make You. So I was like, at this time, probably 2 or 3 years ago. That's when I wrote it. And I'll Make You had like a totally different instrumental, and then kind of just evolved into this. But I never did anything with it. I knew lyrically it was a cool song and I liked it. And then Evergreen, pretty much was the same. But when I was writing it back in like 2 or 3 years ago, my production skills were not there. So I started it and it was interesting. And then I just needed time to like grow as a producer, so that I could like make it sound good or the way that I wanted it, you know?
The lyrics may have been ready. It's just everything else wasn't quite there yet. So it took some time and you grew into I'll Make You.
Yeah, it definitely grew into I'll Make You, grew into Evergreen. Even something like Standstill was not what it is today. Standstill actually was the one that gave me the biggest headache. I just didn't know what I wanted it to be. And it just took so many different forms. And then we were playing it live and I was like, I love the way it sounds live. So I want to like re-record that, and do it like proper studio recording with live instruments. And that's what we did. It was like my first time tracking drums. It was so cool. But you know, these things really like evolve, and you know when it's ready, you know what I mean? Like once we had the product, I was like, okay, this is where it should be. This is where the home. So yeah.
Well, I'm glad that it could find that home for not just the one song, but a few of these songs that continue to evolve as you continue to evolve as well.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
So true.
Awesome. All right, Jesse. Well, I'm so stoked that we could reconnect here to talk about this EP, Hellion. I hope we can reconnect again in the future. I have one last question for you here today. Are you ready for it?
Right.
All right. Last time we talked about your growth as an individual, but with this album, you've said that you've come to accept quite a few different pieces of yourself. We've talked about the sexuality and everything else. What are some of the other pieces of Jesse Maxwell that you've come to embrace, to accept over the period of crafting this EP?
So many things. That's a great question. These last questions are always the killer. Things that I've come to accept. I think, you know, the main thing is to keep in mind and to not be hard on myself when it happens, that I am human and I am not perfect and I am growing. So there's things like my patience, you know what I mean? Like my the willingness to wait for something and to not force and rush the process, I think was something that I like had to accept about myself. And knowing that, I was able to not do it, because if I'm conscious of it, I can say, okay, this is what I'm thinking, but logically, this is what I should do for the best results. So stuff like that, you know, stuff like letting my mind be free, I think was something I didn't always do, at least in the past. I think now, even and on this EP and on the next album as well, like I'm letting my mind go there and just kind of like trailing off. But you know, a lot of the times it's difficult being an underground artist, and you're trying to get people to like you, you know, and sometimes you make yourself fit into a certain mold that, well, this is what people want to hear rather than this is what I want to do. So that was something that I like realized. And again, I don't know if that was 100% what I was doing, but I think a part of me was like holding judgment on myself if I wanted to like get weird and I wanted to say things that were, you know, bold, and if I wanted to make things that were more experimental. So yeah, I think just not being as hard on myself was something I learned to grow with, for sure. Just like letting myself be myself and create the way I want to create.
No, I love that lesson, and it's definitely one that a lot of us have to learn, because even as artists or people who aren't artists, a lot of us are our own harshest critics. And
Totally.
sometimes we just have to let that magic flow, and we can't beat ourselves up over every single detail about something, or like that is going to happen, that has happened, that you're in the moment of. Sometimes you just have to embrace that it's like, okay, well, I'm doing the best that I can, and we just have to make sure that I'm continuing to do that.
Yeah, like that. And like a lot of the times too, it's unproductive, you know, like if you're so hard on yourself, you're taking away time that you could be doing something else, you know? Like for something like Standstill, I did it like 50 times. There's, you know, I'm glad that I did it, but like that was a lot of time that you spend on something to just like keep being so critical of before getting that outside view, you know? Because a lot of the times too, things sound way better outside of your head. So with a fresh set of ears. So yeah, all lessons.
And that's why it's important to have a other set of ears like Andreas to make it go like, nah, man, you're being crazy. This is amazing.
100%.
All right. Awesome. Jesse, I want to say thank you so much for joining me once again here on the Desert Tiger Podcast.
Thank you so much, Fulton.
The Desert Tiger Podcast.